All right, question time. Which of these do you prefer where your learning and personal development is concerned? Are you old school? You like the print books? You like the feel of the pages? Or are you like the digital version? That's my question for you today. Back in 2023, like most years, I had a New Year's resolution to read 24 books within that year. And one of the things I decided for me to be able to reach that goal is I decided I would read something in a in the personal development realm every day. Something. Now the goal was to read at a chapter a day, but if it wasn't a chapter, it was going to be at least a section in a book. But throughout 2023 and 2024, I this question kind of would pop up every once in a while in my mind when I was reading is, am I missing something by reading digitally? And I'm aware that there has been studies that basically have, I think almost unanimously, all the ones that I've read, it's almost unanimous now that people comprehend and retain more reading printed books than digital. One study says 6 to 8 times more comprehension and or retention by reading print books. So I'm not arguing that. I'm not trying to say which is better. The question I have is, can the pros of digital outweigh the cons? Because for me, I don't think I would have been able to read 56, 57 books last year having read if I was reading only print. The reason being is because what I ended up doing is every time I would have a moment of waiting, any type of waiting, I would pull out my phone and I would read a little bit of a personal development book. That's kind of the rule I made of myself. Previously, I was like most people. I would pull out my phone and I'd maybe scroll on Facebook or I'd go to any number of the websites that I used to look at. And so I kind of just made a rule, if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to read something every day, then if I'm waiting anywhere, if I'm waiting in line, if I'm waiting at an airport, if I go to a meeting and I'm waiting for people to come in, I would just pull out my phone and read a little bit. That would not have happened if I had only been reading print books, because I don't carry a print book everywhere I go. Now, in extreme form, could I? Sure, but it would be very inconvenient. But I have my phone on me all the time. I'm an IT professional. I always have my phone on me, even when I usually get home and I change into like my loungewear. I'll still put my phone back in my pocket in case anything comes up. Now, that might be a conversation for another day if that's actually beneficial for me. Maybe when I get home I need to put the phone in another room, but as of right now, I almost always have my phone on me. And so anytime I'm waiting, anytime I'm just sitting there, I can pull out my phone. And so the question is, can some of the pros of reading digitally outweigh that seemingly unanimous understanding that I am losing some comprehension and retention not having a print book? So what are the pros for me on digital? Well, I've already named the first one. It's accessibility. It's there. I don't have to look around for my book. My book is in my pocket 98% of the time. And so there's a convenience there. If I'm just at work, I can get my lunch and I can go down to the lunchroom and I just pull out my phone and I can read. So that's the biggest one. Number two is I can search what I learned. And so there have been times where I was like, oh, where was that in the book? I know it said something like this. Well, in digital version, I can go and search for it. Now, this was when I do read print books, and I do sometimes. I kind of had an idea that print was better than digital, because when I read print books and I highlight it, in my mind, I can see where I highlighted it. Like I'm like, oh yeah, that thing was on the right side, about a third of the quarter down. I think it was the first page of a chapter because I remember big. I can visually kind of see it in my mind where that is. And so I kind of always had this idea. I was like, well, that doesn't happen with print. So there, in my mind, there was a difference between print and digital. And that's kind of that was kind of the main thing that made me question, am I missing out something while reading digitally? Is because I never had that experience of that highlight was over here, top of the page. Just didn't happen. But I don't need to know where on the device the highlight was if I can just remember part of it because I can search. And so I find my highlighted portions in a different way, but I can still find them between print and digital. The third thing that I really like about digital is not only can you highlight, because you can highlight in a book, but then you also have to carry a highlighter. And how many times, maybe I'm the only one, I can't tell you how many times I've had a book and like I'm maybe down in a print book, down in a lunchroom, and I got my highlighter and I'm going and going, and all of a sudden my highlighter just runs out. And you're like, ah. Like, so you almost have to carry like a highlighter and a backup highlighter, right? I don't have to worry about that with digital. I can still highlight, I can still, and then in the app at least I use, which is the Kindle app, then I can just go back into my highlights and I can just read all my highlights. And often what I like to do is after I've read a book, I will open the Kindle app on my desktop and I'll open my OneNote and I will retype out all of the things that I had highlighted into a OneNote. Now that's entirely searchable, and that kind of becomes my repository for pulling quotes in other things. If I ever have to think about like, oh, what did that guy say in that book? I can actually go into that book in my OneNote and I can read through and I can take that highlight. And so that's just very convenient. It's not as convenient to try to take your highlights from a printed book and then put them into your computer. I've done it. It's hard. Maybe they have special displays for this, but you got to prop the book up. You got to make sure the page stays open, and it's always trying to fold by itself, and you're trying to type and look, and the page flips. And this way, I just pull up one, pull up the other, and type. And then the last one, I'm a little bit iffy on. I almost feel bad about it, but digital sales. I mean, writing a book is hard. I've actually written 2 books. One of them is on Amazon and it's available. But they're small books. They're not like these big books. And that was hard. For me, it was an accomplishment. And so I do think that authors deserve all of the royalties they can get for taking their expertise and taking the time to write a book and package it, and particularly if the information in it is good. At the same time, I'm not going to pass up a sale for that reason. And one of the things that I've been doing really since I started reading back in 2023 is every day I will go on the Kindle Daily Deals. And I have been able to build a large library of digital books. I think I'm over 200 now, some digital books that I read. So I don't have any lack of content to read. Had I bought all of those as physical books, one, I don't have a place for 200 books in my house right now. I'd love to someday have a giant library that I could do that. But 2, that would have cost me thousands of dollars. And yet, if I just watch the Kindle Daily Deals, I'll see books that I've been interested in. I'll find authors that I have not really heard about or only heard a little bit about and would probably not have purchased their book. I wouldn't have paid $20 for a hardcover or whatever. But if it's $3, I'm like, yeah, let's try it. And I've actually discovered a lot of great authors that way. Now, if there's a specific book I'm interested in, I don't sit and hope and wait that it goes on sale. I go buy the book. But again, I don't pass up the opportunity to build my personal development library when Amazon has daily deals. And I will. I will check the Kindle Daily Deals. And it's a great way to build your personal development library. Now, again, I believe authors should get the royalties, and so I won't say I feel bad, but I almost feel bad for recommending that you look at the daily deals. But anyways, this is all part of my personal development. And so the question then is, do all those benefits outweigh that comprehension? That's my big question. I mean, I don't want to waste time, and I don't know of any studies that basically say it's not worth reading digital at all. And if it allows me to read every day, if it allows me to keep personal development in the front of my mind, because anytime I'm waiting, I pull out my phone and I'm reading it. If I can highlight and I can go back and I can review my highlights, I can search my highlights, I can retype them into my notes. All of these things, if I can build a library much cheaper than I could if I was doing print book, do those things outweigh it? And I honestly, I don't know. I've actually had the thought, should I buy a couple of print books and read those and just kind of see at the end, did I feel like I got more? I feel like I would, but I don't know. I don't know if the benefit, how much I would feel different, that it would outweigh all those other things. I'm just curious. What do you guys do? What do you think? Do you read digital books, or are you a print only person? I have a friend. He's basically a print only guy, and I've tried to share with him the benefits. As it's like, yeah, print is great. I don't disagree that print is better, but you're missing this, 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 and this. I don't know. What I do know is I firmly believe that reading digital is better than nothing. And if you're not going to carry a book around everywhere you go, then by all means get the digital. Put it in your pocket. Quit wasting time scrolling on Facebook. How many books could you read this year if you just took half the time you scroll on Facebook and decided, I'm going to get a digital book and I'm going to read it during that time? Just half the time that I bet you'd be surprised how many books you can read. As for me, I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to be intentional in my reading. That's all part of the more intentional life. I'm not going to wait till maybe the few times a year I'm going to read. No, I'm going to be intentional. Today I'm going to read something that is going to help in my personal development. Speaking of reading, I did just get a new book. I just finished. I'm starting this new book called Building Your Money Machine. I'm interested. As I'm reading through these books, would you be interested in videos on reviews? Not necessarily summaries. Not necessarily. I don't want to do a book report, but are you interested to know, did I like this book or did I not like this book? Now, this book that I just started reading this week, it just came out. It's by a man named Mel Abraham. I've had the opportunity to hear him in person a number of times. I have a number of his courses. I really like his material. I've started this book. I cannot recommend it until I finished it, but so far it's been a wonderful book. But are you interested? Are you interested in hearing my thoughts on books? That could be another type of video I do here. I'm always interested in what people have to say about books, introducing me to new authors I may have never heard of before. When I'm doing my intentional growth and I'm focusing on a specific area of my growth, like finances. That's where I am right now. I'm focusing on finances right now. Knowing a book like this is out there, that's an option for me. Anyways, I'll start this book. Some of my videos may be about something I read. Just, hey, I got this thought from this book I'm reading. Anyways, leave your comments. One, which one do you like, print or digital better? Two, can the pros of digital outweigh that con of you might be comprehending less? And then number three, would you be interested in book reviews as I read those? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments if you like this video. Hit the like button, share it with somebody. If you want to join me for more of these conversations and living the more intentional life, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.